Yeah, so no stab hits, and yeah, it is 727, so... Yee. Get ships to break those forts. True, you can do it on the ports, but all he needs to do to stop that is place one light infantry on each of these, and yeah, you're not breaking the ports. You can't do it if there's no fleet there. Magna Graecia floating around. Are you searching for other people's fleets to see what kind of strength they're at? I feel like that might be the case. And you know what he's done? You know what he's done as well is he's just gone around and clicked on these provinces to have them build fleets. He's not building to a fleet, so they're not going to be floating out into the middle of the sea and being sunk by nasty fucking pirate navies. It's a good idea. For sure, it's a good idea. Alright, Massilia. What is your fleet strength now, good sir? God, the fact that he's splitting them up. So it's hard. I have to actually do math. Fuck that. But Magna Graecia, you're still building fleets. You're fleeting the fuck up. Let's have a look. You're up to over 1,000. And this just keeps going up. You need a popcorn GIF. Yeah, that would be pretty handy. I think that'd be used quite often. This battle's still going on. This one's irrelevant. This battle's still going on, and despite everything, it looks like Yamnat are going to win this battle. They're losing so many more troops, though. So maybe I'm wrong, and this army is going to eventually run out of men and start being flanked and murdered. Athens just sunk the Judean navy. That's completely dead now. Oh well. But are they going to be able to sink the Yamnat one? Oh no, it's not. It is the Judean, sorry, not the Judeans, it's the Rhodians, the Greeks, that get sent packing. And it is about 25,000 disparity in the kills. Now, you take this army, you crush this Athenian army. Just right quick, just go and do it. I don't know who this is. Why are you a thing? You were a general that you put as a favourite, and he died in 12 years ago. He died of a venereal disease, but you've still got him as a dude. Okay. Naval battle. I love seeing these. They both use probing attack. The Athenians have a better commander. The Athenians have better ships. They've got mega polyremes involved here, whereas the Yamnats mostly made up of Liburnians. We'll see who comes out on top in this. It seems like the Athenian navy is growing, while the Yamnatian navy is declining, so a lot of captures. But now the Athenians have gone back to just using the Liburnians now. It seems they've ran out of mega polyremes, ran out of the tetraires and octaires and all the rest of the tears and shares and whatever. And it is just a fleet battle between really, really tiny tinsy-winsy ships. But we'll see. I mean, having the better commander is kind of important. Like, what they really should be doing is, say, hiring these guys, level 14, and floating them the fuck up here and getting involved. Then you'd win the battle quite handily. As it stands, you've just lost a shit ton of... Fuck. You just lost a shit ton of ships for relatively little gain. I mean, neither of you lost all that many. Battle coming here, Athens versus Judea, and it is in the desert. Quite high kills and losses on both sides, actually. Athens choosing the correct tactic. They are going to absolutely murder this small Judean army. That's not going to be stopped at all. The hills being sieged by some Yamnatian camels. This fleet being sent packing. Although the Rhodian fleet is around. Are you coming south, maybe? Don't know. Judea gets unpacking. We're talking 500 plus ships. No commander in those times would be able to command those numbers. I agree. One of the things I would love to see, actually, is... Ooh, Rhodes just got stack wiped. They're level 8, who was captured and then fucking executed immediately. I love that. Yeah, 500 ships, that is a huge number. I don't know if it would be uncommandable. Fleet battles. If we have a look at the one for Rome versus Carthage, there was a massive battle off the coast of Sicily, the Battle of the Aegites. They had how many ships on each side? 200 versus 250. Carthage.
Quick question.
Yes, hello.
1st of January, 727, right?
Yes.
It's the 1st of January we enter here.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem at all. Yeah, so the biggest fleet battle in these times, 200 quinqueremes for the Roman Republic and 250 quinqueremes for the Carthaginians. And yes, while you would say that 50 ships would be pretty much the max that somebody could command in the heat of combat, if you have a plan beforehand, you can sort of say, okay, this is what I want your group of ships to do, and then that group of ships would have maybe every 10 ships would have a sub-commander that would be dealing with that. That's what I think would be pretty fair. But yeah, 500 ships, it's a bit much. It is a little bit much. But then these guys are... This also didn't exist. Our countries owning this amount of stuff. I mean, at this point, Rome had quite a huge empire. Didn't have Mare Nostrum yet. They got Mare Nostrum 70 years after the end of the game. But they would have had a really large fleet. They dominated the Mediterranean at this point, but most of their ships would have been used for trading and not warfare. So it's really hard to say what would be commandable. Plan before the battle. There's a quote for that. Yes, there is. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. I know it well. Yeah, very true. But again, a good commander could say, okay, if this happens, then do this. If this happens, do this. Or if they trust their commanders, use your initiative to... This is the overarching strategy. This is what I want you to focus towards, and that sort of thing. I mean, it's possible. Having really large fights, that's probably why a lot of fights were lost, because armies were just too large. Like, the biggest example I can think of is when Hannibal was fighting the Battle of... I always forget which one's which. There's Lake Trasimene, it's not that one. It is the Battle of Cannae. When they fought in the Battle of Cannae, it was actually down here somewhere. One of the big reasons that Rome lost is because they had just a fucking huge army. It was the biggest army they had ever put together on the field at one time. And because it was so fucking large, their consul generals, they didn't know what the fuck to do. So they just said, all right, go forward. Just march forward. Big fucking blocks of infantry, just march forward, and then we'll just push them aside because there's just so many of us. They were unable to respond to the situations because the army was just so large. They had one possible tactic. What I'd love to see to emulate that kind of thing in Imperator is, say, this commander is level 8. He can command a total of, I don't know, 20,000 troops as a level 8 commander. This guy here is a level 5. He's only good at commanding, 15,000 troops. And if he commands more than 15,000 troops, then he's going to get a massive disadvantage to discipline or his morale or something. That kind of thing I think would work really, really well. Just saying, if this army is too large for your commander's abilities, he's going to lose some kind of benefit, or he's going to have some kind of disadvantage there. That would be really cool. I'd love to see that. But there is only 2 years left of this game, or 1 year left and a couple of months. Tartessia have peaced out. They have peaced out, and it's a rather respectable amount of land that they lost. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll call this 4, even though it's only 3 provinces. 4 provinces only. Respectable. Very respectable. They didn't lose too much. Judea managing to hold out until the end. Same with Persia. They would have lost a lot of pops to this war, but probably not enough to make it so painful that they lose completely. They won't be probably getting points for pop growth in the session, but that's okay. That's okay. I think probably Yamnat will. They took a bunch of land from Godrosia. Probably Pictonia will. Maybe Magna Graecia even. Possibly Bosporans, though they didn't take all that much. They just took, how many? 150 maybe? Something like that. But yeah, Yamnat gets a lot of growth purely because of the amount of land they've got, the amount of cities they've got. They're all growing all at the same time. This province here, this territory is growing, and this territory is growing, and this territory is growing, and because he's got so many territories growing. Wide is very, very good for growth, which is weird but true. Another big battle. Probably one of the last. If you lose this and you got no morale, you're probably not going to be gaining your morale back in time to reach the end date. It's funny though, right? We're supposed to end in 10 minutes, and we're fairly close to ending regardless. It's a little bit funny. But just to remind you, we will be doing the growth points and the end of session, end of game points. So things could change on a whim. They absolutely could change on a whim. But yeah, I definitely need to make sure to save on the 1st of January. I might have an autosave. I'm not sure if I get multiplayer autosaves. I can actually probably check here. Oh no, I can't load games while in multiplayer. Fair enough. It'd be nice to just check them though, for fuck's sake. But yeah, I'll make sure to get the save. Let's see, Magna Graecia, how many ships have you got now, good sir? Stupid amounts. You've won the 15 points. You can stop now, buddy. Actually, how many troops have you got? Because you're probably going for biggest army as well. These are all light infantry, pretty much. So many light infantry armies. If you go military, go for cohorts. There's 167,000 new archers. 600... Fuck off. Oh my god, what the fuck. 638,000 extra light infantry. I probably should have done regular manpower rather than max manpower. And look, his manpower is dropping because he's building new troops. This 70,000 will not be there at the end of the game. Yeah, I did max manpower instead of current manpower. Maybe I shouldn't have. Alright, but the battle rages on. There's a level 15 coming in for roads. It's not going to change anything. They've already got the tactics, so it doesn't matter. Any reinforcements for Judea? It does not seem like it. This is all they have. July now. They could still win. When the rolls are even, the tactic is really kind of cancelling out with the numbers advantage on the terrain penalty. It all depends on who runs out of troops first. If we have a look at you've got another shit ton in reserve. Actually, no, that's only about 20,000 reserve. You've got 70,000 men in reserve. Okay, so I think you've won. You've got call it 20,000 in reserve. So soon enough, you're going to start losing. 10,000 in reserve, 5,000 in reserve, 2,000 reserve, 1,000 reserve. They're going to start losing troops now. There's no reserves. Yep, and there they are. They've started crumbling. Whereas you've still got 45,000 men in reserve. I love that. I'm glad I noticed that. It'd be nice if there was a total as well. September. Oh, is she coming? Right, so 136,000 troops lost on the Greek side. Only 100,000 on the Rhodians, on these guys' side. See, what you should do is stack wipe that. Yes, you caught it. Good boy. Same here. You should have just like split up. Yep, and goodbye, level 14 general. Now march here. Kill this. Or not, maybe. October. Right, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this. It seems like this 140 province is now down to 100. This had 100. Actually, it was 149, wasn't it? And now it's down to 100. Ugh, filth. Absolute filth. These Dacians have carved a swath of destruction all the way down the Mesopotamian area. Region, something like that. Magna Graecia, your navy is disgusting me. Your army is disgusting me. This is metagaming at its finest. That is filth. That is actual filth. Emporion, how are you doing? You building an army? Oh, he built one extra cohort. Good lad. Is this all you've got? Seems like it. Oh, good lord. But yeah, this seems like the only place that there's fighting going on. But at the same time, the last fight has happened. There's not going to be any more fights, I don't think. Might be one down here. Doubtful. So it looks like everyone has survived to the end of the game. Good job. It's a shame that Bosporan Kingdom didn't manage to actually get rid of Zabender. They could have really grown their country if they had done that. Having the commander go home after being captured isn't that much of a stretch. Yeah, but they don't go home. That's the point. Alright, we've got 10 days left, or 11 days. 9, 8, 7, blah, blah, blah. Can you get his area back? No. 1, and pause. Please pause. Pause, 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 pause. Save game. Save. There we go. That is the end of the game. The end of the second community multiplayer. So, what I'm going to do is drop out to desktop, count up the points, and then I will be right back. Hello there, post-game time. This was the final session of the Imperator Rome community multiplayer, and just final thoughts on it. I thought it went really well. I guess I can talk a bit about like the entirety of the game rather than just this session this time. Yeah, it went really well. The players seem to have really enjoyed it. I've got quite a few people messaging me saying, thanks for setting this up, really enjoyed it, when's the next one, etc, etc. And by the time you watch this, the next one will have already started. So yeah, we went a little bit far ahead in the recording, unfortunately. But it's good to have a little bit of a backup in case we can't play one week, so it's useful. But this session specifically, let's talk about that first. So Massilia started off at war with Magna Graecia, Dacia, Bosporan, and Tartessia. Really, really big war here, and Tartessia almost immediately managed to steal a bunch of land from Massilia. He did really well there. Then Magna Graecia took, he took one province there, most of a province there, and like 2 settlements there. So, I mean, he didn't grow massively, and he certainly didn't manage to link up his names. But it seemed that then he had some kind of deal with Massilia that they wouldn't fight after that. Massilia did have a substitute player, as did Arvernia, for the final session, as the previous players weren't able to make it. I should say today, but for me it's actually yesterday. So yeah, they couldn't make it, unfortunately, so they had substitutes. The Massilia player was the previous Sparta player, so I think there's quite a lot of respect between Magna Graecia and Sparta in that one. So yeah, it didn't take too much land, and maybe it hurt him in the long run, I don't know. But yeah, he did quite well. Other wars, we had the Greeks going back to war with Judea, Persia, and no borders changed hands other than Colchis up here in the north. Initially, Aeolia declared war on Persia, who used to be Colchis, for this land, and he managed to get over 50 war score. I think there were like 76 or something, and right towards the end of the game, they forced peace for just the one province. So not massive gains, and I don't think it really affected the scores at all. Things that I was quite iffy about was just a large amount of Yamnat troops not really taking part in the war. I think he had about 350,000 stood around in his capital region, and they never even attempted to come north. And personally, I think they probably should have. I think one of the things he was trying to do by having them stand here is preventing slave revolts, because, I mean, his capital had over 1,300 pops towards the end of the game, and yeah, so he had them stood there in case there was a slave revolt. He could kill it before it spread any further. But yeah, other than that, not too bad. Yamna expanding massively into India. That's where a lot of his pops and points came from. And in the next multiplayer, I'm gonna probably put some limits onto expanding into regions that are not pickable. So say if we have only got from Greece and east, available, then you won't be able to conquer into Italy, etc. That sort of thing. Still ironing out the different permutations of that, though. I'm not sure yet what exactly we're going to do, but there's going to be something like that. The second war, Pictonia declared war on Tartessia and just completely destroyed him. The excuse from Magna Graecia, which I don't personally buy, is that because Tartessia didn't have the diplomatic range to Dacia or the Bosporan Kingdom, he wasn't able to call them in, and then Magna Graecia didn't want to be involved in the war because these guys weren't getting involved. I don't really buy that on the basis that they weren't necessary, or they could have declared their own separate war, something along those lines. If nothing else, Magna Graecia was fully able to hold this and this by himself, and Massilia, Arvernia, Pictonia would have to take troops away from Iberia to defend against a potential Magna Graecian push into the Po River Valley, which would have given Tartessia a bit more breathing room. But instead, they just stood here looking at each other over the border and basically left Tartessia out to the wolves, and he lost a fair chunk of land. Not massive amounts, but a fair chunk. That's pretty much it for the sessions. Not much else happened. Persia showing that their troops really weren't all that. The Greeks had massive bonuses over them and just completely destroyed them. Wasn't even close at the end. Aeoli was managing to push all the way down to the mouth of the Mesopotamian region. There was nothing really Persia could do. Persia ended up having like 2 regions completely separated from himself, and yeah, I guess he's gonna have to try again next time, because yeah, this didn't work. He was doing so well for the entirety of the game, and then at the final hurdle, he was just nowhere. He was just absolutely nowhere. But anyway, let's have a look firstly at the score gain for today's, or I'm going to keep saying today, it's easier, today's session. So there we go. That is the points gained for today's session. We have, I've sorted it by end of game pop. So we have Yamnat ending the game with 12,635 pops. We have Magna Graecia ending the game with 9,500, Pictonia 7,500, Arvernia 7,500, Massilia 7,000, etc., etc. You can read it yourself. So yeah, they did really well. Massive gains, and again, taking this land for Yamnat was where a lot of his population came from. And as for scores, Yamnat gaining 3,000 pops and the full 30 points, because not really anyone else expanded all that much. Pictonia expanded into Tartessia, gaining 1,000 pops. They also took some land up in Sweden, so that's where he got his pops from. Aeolia got 800 pops. I think most of that was from slave raiding, or rather just sieging and taking slaves, and also taking this one province from Persia. But other than that, no one really expanded all that much. Dacia as well, lots of sacking cities as he came down. Mesopotamia, gaining him another 800 pops. But really that's it. It seems like anyone else didn't really expand all that much. Bosporan Kingdom as well, but yeah, like I said, I'm just going to repeat myself again if I go again. But yeah, not much expansion. So that left the points in this situation. 110 for Yamnat, 59 for Magna Graecia. Actually, it's sorted this way. 110, 89, 86, 72, 68, 63, 63, 61, 59, 56, 49, 41. Then there's Dacia, Emporion, and Rhodes off the screen with 18, 16, and 12 respectively. I guess it's not actually that much off the screen. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But that's not all. We also had the end game points, which I can also show you. Let's turn that one off. Switch over here. And so the end game points, as we've said before, are these ones. Total income, max manpower, highest pop territory, most territories, highest population density nation, highest stability, highest cultural unity, highest religious unity, total military traditions, largest army, largest navy, and largest font. And it took me about 45 minutes after the session ended to calculate all of these, because it was a kind of a bit of a pain in the ass. But we got it done, and because of all of these extra changes to the points, we have this as the final tally. We have in first place Yamnat Stoyan gaining 159 points. In a very close second, we have Magna Graecia with 150. Then we have Pictonia in third place. No, we don't, because I haven't sorted by that. Now it is. We have Aeolia in third place. Then distantly we have Arvernia. Then Emporion, Bosporan Kingdom, Axum, Getia, blah, 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 blah. Interesting things to note. Yamnat coming in first place in total income, max manpower, highest pop territory, most territories. They came second place in total military traditions after Emporion. They also had the second largest army after Magna Graecia, who also had the largest navy, the most cultural and religious unity, and they came second in income and manpower. Other important first places, we have in first place for stability, Aeolia. We have total military traditions, obviously Emporion, he filled out the entire list, no one was even close to that. Largest font I gave to Persia, for obvious reasons. Their nation is, yeah, I mean, Persia is a really big name, of course. The only one that didn't get any bonus points was actually Tartessia, so that's unfortunate for him, but yeah, he did okay. He still did okay. Any other first places of mention, of note, sorry, we have highest population density, they should say density, being Rhodes. So they had quite high population density. We had, what else have we got that's interesting here? Bosporan Kingdom coming in third place in income, manpower, highest pop territory. But yeah, it was a pretty interesting one. I'll show the workings out of some of the ones that I couldn't find in the ledger, and that is there. So this is what kind of took me an awfully long time to work out. Things like city pop, I had to go and check each individual like country and find their highest pop city, so I could check that. 1615 was what Yamnat's capital city was at the end of the game. Far and away the most. More than double that of second place Rhodes. And then even after Rhodes, it's Bosporan Kingdom, Aeolia, a further bit behind. So yeah, he absolutely crushed that. Max manpower. Also, other than Magna Graecia, everyone is nowhere. Income, massive amounts of income. And then closest after that, again, Magna Graecia, almost half as much. Magna Graecia's cultural and religious unity, really damn high. And the only one that came close was Emporion, but he just pipped him on both fronts. Traditions, I just put all for Emporion, because, I mean, he had them all. Then the next closest was Yamnat with 18. I think 24 is the maximum. So, and then a lot of people actually on 12 traditions each. Everyone really in a very similar situation here, between 9 and 13. Then Pictonia with 15 being an outlier. And then population density, if I sort by that, we see in first place is Rhodes, then Emporion, then Athens, Dacia, then Aeolia, Magna Graecia losing out by 0.3 of a density thing. The way I did that was just population divided by territories. Quite simple. But yeah, that was the end of the game. I'll close that now. And yes, so actually after that, end game points in total in first place, Stoyan with Yamnat getting first place. So massive congratulations to him. He definitely deserves his win. And interestingly enough, that is the second community multiplayer that I've run, and in both of them, Yamnat has ended up as the victor. God, I'm turning Swedish. Yeah, Yamnat has turned out to be the victor in both multiplayers that I've run. There'll be another one in January, starting in January, and if Yamna ends up winning that one as well, I'm going to call hacks and beg for nerfs, because Yamnat's strong, please nerf. So yeah, Yamnat wins the MP. Massive congratulations to him, and we'll see what happens in the next one. I hope you're going to stick around for that, because I'm sure it'll be a damn good time. Yeah, I don't think there's any much more to say. Let's see, can I do a timeline? Open the replay. There we can. Phrygia, a bit borked, but we can play it. You see all of the changes. Epirus dead, but I managed to get a whole bunch of territory. I think it's just interesting to see how things changed out. Egypt being this color, obviously broken as well. This is all thanks to the 1.2 UI mod that was created by Agamidae, which some of you may know as Long Game Short. And yeah, without this is the things that are in the files but not actually really available all that much. So that's unfortunate, but hey ho, it's fine. And we just see the change over the years of all the different lands in the world. You see that massive amount of colonization that Dacia did. Very interesting. And there's me dying. Yep, and I'm dead. Sad times. Very sad times. Celticia getting partitioned. Pretty close to the end of the game now. Only about 20 years left. Massive war against Massilia. That was the victory there. The war against Tartessi, you see, just getting melted apart. And that is the end of the game. Lovely. Well, anyway, again, I want to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I hope you've enjoyed the campaign. And I hope you consider taking part in a future one that I run on through my Discord. If you want to check those out, then the link to my Discord server is in the description below. There's a bunch of other links down there that you may find interesting or useful or whatever. So yeah, check out the descriptions. They're kind of useful sometimes. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.